So this morning, my alarm went off at 6 a.m. As soon as it rang, I got up really quickly. I chose to go for a quick run. I decided on a healthy breakfast of yogurt and fruit while listening to classical music. I chose to spend some quality time with my children because I will not see them much today. I got dressed with the outfit I had laid out the night before, got in the car, and decided to drive here while listening to a mindfulness podcast to calm myself for giving this talk. I'm kidding, of course. Once the alarm went off, in the unholy hour of 6 a.m., I pressed the snooze button until it was no longer possible. I dragged myself out of bed in a foul mood, and then I texted my friend to complain about it. Why do I have to do this? I debated then for quite a long time whether I should leave my hair down or put it up. I got ready very quickly, and then I decided to ask my husband to drive me here so that I could spend the ride looking at my notes, calling my mom, and all these things. So what does this story tell us? First, that I need to get a bit more organized. And second, that I, like the rest of you, make decisions all the time. I have been talking for about 2 minutes now, and probably you think you have not made any decisions since I started talking, but actually you have. Whether to scratch your nose, whether to respond to that notification on your phone. You have also already probably decided whether my talk will be interesting and whether you will commit to it, or whether you will start playing with your phone, talking to the person next to you, whom I hope you know, or just keep looking at the time until the coffee break. All day, every day, whether you realize it or not, you make a lot of decisions. Our decision-making is largely based on things we have learned and experienced in the past, on associations we have made in our brains, and sometimes they're even based on the pros and cons, balancing them, looking at alternatives, calculating probabilities, and making the decision that will maximize benefit in the long term. Not so often, though, right? Most often our decisions are based on our impulses, what we feel, our mood, our biases, sometimes even how much we have had to drink, right? Remember that text? We all have that text. So, the way we make decisions is about to fundamentally change as we enter this new era of technological advancements, the era of digital, the era of big data. One big change that is about to come our way is around the way we, humans, will be making decisions, both small and big ones. In the era of big data, decision-making will move away from impulsive, intuitive, and sometimes guided by drinking, to decisions based on data and evidence. And our partners for making all these decisions will be intelligent machines. So firstly, what is this big data I keep talking about? Why is everyone talking about it? And how is it linked to decision-making? Big data describes large and diverse sets of information that basically keep growing. Because, as you very well know, every aspect of our lives has now been digitalized. The way we work, the way we communicate, the way we socialize, even the way we fall in love has been digitalized. The world is now full of data. All activity that we perform can now be logged and saved. And as a result, the world now is packed with an inconceivable amount of digital records, which we now call big data. Big data is, big, it's fast, and it comes in many different forms. It can be numbers, it can be text, it can be images, it can be videos. But what does this have to do with decision-making? Let me share with you a story. A bit more than a decade ago, 2 researchers at the University of Cambridge in the UK decided to investigate whether those digital records of human behavior could be used to predict someone's personality. What they wanted to see was whether you could predict things like openness and intelligence, or even other more intrusive things like sexual orientation, ethnic origin, and political views. The digital records which they would use would be simply people's Facebook likes. A couple of years later, they published a study where they showed the results on data that they had collected from 58,000 people who had given them access to their Facebook profiles and had also answered some personality tests. The results were amazing. They showed that on the basis of only Facebook likes, the computer could predict someone's skin color with 95% accuracy, and someone's gender with 93% accuracy. And what else they did was that they showed what kind of likes could be linked and could be predictive of some personality traits. For example, they showed that likes that were predictive of a high IQ were on pages such as The Lord of the Rings, Science, and curly fries. Coincidentally, all things I like. In contrast, likes that could predict a low IQ were, are you worried? On pages related to makeup, to motorcycles, and on I like being a mommy groups. I do like those. Even more remarkably, in a study the same researchers published a couple of years later, what they did was that they asked colleagues, relatives, and friends of the participants to give their judgments of the participants' personalities, and then they compared them with the computer's judgments. Who do you think won? They showed, remarkably, that with only 10 likes, the computer knew you better than your colleague. With only 70 likes, the computer knew you better than your friend. With only 150 likes, the computer knew you better than a relative. And with 300 likes, the computer knew you better than your partner. The analysis they used were really not that sophisticated. And I hope they're not watching. Yet, they managed to build a system that could make better decisions than humans. How did they manage to do that? They managed it because they had big data. By having this big data set and being able to analyze it, they were able to draw conclusions that were statistically valid and to build an intelligent decision-making machine, to basically create artificial intelligence. The equation usually looks like this. Data, big data, plus fancy or not so fancy algorithms or maths, equals artificial intelligence. The maths have been around for a long time. What we now have available to us is big data, and they are already being used for affecting our decision-making. Amazon is doing it. Amazon has been doing it for years. They have been shaping our shopping decisions for years by giving us personalized recommendations on products we might be interested in buying, using data of our own past purchases and the past purchases of people who are similar to us. Netflix is also doing it for recommending us series or movies we are likely to like. Both Amazon and Netflix make these recommendations using big data and artificial intelligence methodologies, making our everyday decision-making much, much easier. So Christmas is coming up. My 9-year-old is obsessed with Harry Potter. So he's getting a Harry Potter Lego set, but you're not supposed to tell. So what else can I buy him to go with it? Do I need to worry about it? No, because Amazon has filtered down all the choices for me, making my decision-making much, much easier. Potential employers may now be making decisions about us without us knowing, using our digital records. If Facebook likes are so linked with personality traits, why not use digital records like Facebook likes to see if I will be a resilient employee and a good team player? Could this photo come back and bite me? And yes, I mean the haircut. In the future, sometimes intelligent decisions may be even made before we even knew that a decision had to be made. While I was working as a researcher at the University of Oxford, part of my research had to do with developing intelligent tools to facilitate decision-making in healthcare. A project I was working on had to do with using a big data set of health data from hospital patients in order to build intelligent systems that could predict whether something bad was about to happen to someone while they were in hospital. How these systems worked was by learning what combinations of physiological characteristics could signal a future health crisis. And then an alert was being generated. Now, for someone in hospital, something bad happening is not totally unexpected. But let's consider this scenario. You're peacefully sitting in your living room, watching a David Attenborough documentary. Or, more realistically, you're watching the Kardashians. So, you have been feeling a bit uneasy all day, but you are dismissing your symptoms because you had a long day, you don't want to bother anyone, you don't want to make a fuss, and suddenly you hear an ambulance and there's a knock on the door. An intelligent system predicted that you were about to have a heart attack, and they have come to take you into hospital, making the right decision for you. In those cases, artificial intelligence can literally prove to be a lifesaver. So, as we enter this new era of digital, big data, machine-based decisions, how would my morning routine look like? Most probably, my sleep time and wake time would have been optimized for me using some fancy maths, and the text message to my friend would have been sent for me using some prediction algorithm of what I would be likely to want to tell my friend. My outfit would have been chosen for me using a personalized algorithm, and the music I would listen to in the car while coming here would have been selected for me based on my physiological signals as detected by my car seat. Great, huh? Actually, the machine could even give this talk for me in the future. But are we ready for all this? Are we ready for data-driven and evidence-based decision-making? The answer is not really, because we, humans, are not really built to be data-driven decision-makers. Technology is changing our lives in a very fast pace, but our DNA has not really yet caught up. Let's consider this scenario. Our ancestors are sitting in the wild around the fire, and they suddenly hear a strange sound. What could it be? Is it a lion preparing for his evening meal, meaning us? Or is it some juicy prey that could feed our family for a few days? Had that been a world driven by artificial intelligence, our ancestors would have pulled out their smartphones and would have checked what the algorithm said. They would have made the decision according to the algorithm with great accuracy. In actual fact, the decision had to be made quickly with little or no information at hand. Who do you think survived? The ones who stood up and impulsively started running, or the ones who sticked around to make a probabilistic assessment of the situation? Let's have a show of hands. Who thinks the impulsive ones who ran away survived? Okay. Who thinks the analysts survived? You're just trying to ruin my point. So, most of you have common sense, and you've realized that it was the impulsive ones who survived. And that is why we, the descendants, have evolved to be largely impulsive decision makers. This impulsiveness, along with many biases we are carrying, have plagued human judgment and decision making for thousands of years. As someone who works on developing artificial intelligence and on helping people and organizations use it, I can tell you for certain that while those systems are not perfect, in many, many situations, machine-based decisions are excellent and they are better than human decisions. Embracing artificial intelligence can definitely make our lives better. If you want to adapt to this new world and to benefit from artificial intelligence, in my opinion, there is two things you need to accept. The first is that for artificial intelligence to work for you, you have to accept to expose yourself by sharing your own personal data. And secondly, that you will have to learn to trust artificial intelligence, even when it goes against your own instincts and impulses. The recipe for success is not allowing yourself to be passively swept by this big data and artificial intelligence wave with no control of the situation. Stay vigilant and educate yourselves about which decisions you can trust. At the end of the day, the decision about whether you should follow the machine's decision should be yours and yours only. Thank you.